Hello, and on this episode, I'm here with Nikola Stojanow of Eternity. How are you today?
Hello, I'm very good. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me, Jason.
Yes, of course. So, could you tell me a little bit about the problem that Eternity is trying to solve?
Well, it's not only one that we're trying to solve, actually. But if I would have to summarize it, I would say that we're building a platform that is working on or trying to be future proof and production ready. Because we believe that you can really start using and building on Eternity because it's well engineered and reliable. Nothing fancy, not a fancy playground that is only a sandbox for developers. It is way more than this. So pretty much what we're trying to focus on is to provide the highest quality code base. We're working on testing a lot, which means that it's extremely well tested. It's engineered from an international team of experts in the language of Erlang and other languages. So you have the who is who of infrastructure protocols and also including its inventors. So we don't think there is any better blockchain software out there right now. Maybe Bitcoin, obviously, but Bitcoin is the mother of all. But if I would have to summarize it, I would say in two words, extremely reliable.
Okay. So, are you trying to solve some of the problems that are with some of your competitors? Like, would you consider Ethereum to be kind of a competitor?
I It's a very interesting question because I have nothing but respect for the people that build Ethereum, and I know most of them, and we tend to hang out, all over the world. But I would say it's more something like the next step in evolution because if we're looking at recent developments, I do not think that anybody could foresee how the space would develop and how many new things would come up and what people would be needing in terms of scalability, in terms of first class objects, in terms of native applications that would have to be implemented in blockchains or distributed ledger systems at a stage where we are currently in.
Okay, so this is more like I believe what people sometimes are calling as like the third generation blockchains.
I honestly I have issues with that to keep count because recently I already saw fifth generation blockchains, which I don't know, are they cooking nowadays? Do they iron? It's really hard to follow. But again, for me, the mother of everything obviously is Bitcoin and will always be Bitcoin. And then if you say that Ethereum is the second generation, one could say that we're the third generation. Yes.
Okay, so then you're solving the problems, I believe, of scalability too.
Yes.
Okay.
But we try.
Yeah, try. Yeah. It is a very difficult
We
problem.
try. We're saying that we're very fast. We're a lot faster than Ethereum due to the fact that we have successfully implemented Bitcoin NG, for example, which allows us once a block is verified or mined to have micro blocks, which have very small verification times, come to 3 to 4 seconds. So this is quite an improvement in our opinion. Also, we have state channels, which are the most, I would say, basic version of sidechains, if you think about it. So they're private transactions and smart contracts. They're pretty much unlimitable, scalable, and 100% trustless and decentralized.
Okay, so then what are some of the biggest advantages of using your system?
Well, I think if I would have to summarize it, again, I would have to say what I mentioned earlier. It's an extremely reliable platform. So we really wanted to, we're really trying to create something which will not only allow developers to feel safe, feel comfortable in using our smart contracts, our software development kits and other objects that we're offering, but it should also allow users at a later stage to safely and comfortably use this infrastructure. I think those are the things which we're focusing mostly. Obviously, another great addition is that through our oracles, we have them directly implemented into our smart contract. So they're not an application which runs on top of the infrastructure. They're part of it. So this is something that we've also not seen until this moment. And obviously, I would say that we're one of the few projects that still believe in the proof of work, a consensus mechanism, and we think that we have created a interesting algorithm which will allow us to be as competitive as possible over the near future.
And is this an open source project?
It is an open source project. Everything which is coded is available for everybody.
Oh, very good. And do you know what the license is?
Sorry?
Oh, do you know what the license is?
Oh God, I would have to check that with our dev team and get back to you. But I think they're the standard ones that are most spread actually.
And do you know what the primary language that you folks use?
Yes, Erlang. For the people that don't know too much about Erlang, it's a highly functional language, and if you have not heard of them, it might surprise you that, for example, Sony Ericsson used it as an internal language until it was open sourced and then open to the public. And I think most well known would be, for example, the back end of WhatsApp is written in Erlang. Skype uses Erlang, and many other products that we are using on our daily basis.
And is the system operational right now?
Well, our testnet is ready to go. We are aiming to launch our mainnet candidate as soon as possible. Currently, we have also allowed anybody to be able to look into our pivot tracker, which means that each person who has internet access can track what is being deployed, what is being currently worked on, and it gives a very good estimate on when we will be able to finally push out the first mainnet candidate.
And are there any other features that make you stand out from your other blockchains?
Well, besides a really cool and functioning team and all the things that I've mentioned earlier, one thing that we also featured was that we have a lot of native apps which will be able to run as soon as possible, and people will allow people and users to immediately interact with the Eternity blockchain in a simple and effective way. So I think this is something that a lot of other projects have had issues with until this moment. But again, luckily that we had the luxury of a very amazing development team. We will have a lot of things that have not been out yet when a infrastructure project actually launches the first mainnet candidate. Besides that, they are not technical features, but we're more actually project features, because we're focusing a lot on education. We're creating a lot of materials. We're pushing towards lecturing when it comes to parties that are interested. And we also created our own incubator through. Well, actually, that was the first decentralized incubator that currently has about 9 projects in it who will be funded with us and who will build their products on top of Eternity.
And how has the crypto community reacted to your project?
Well, we have been, let's say, more silent when it comes to marketing per se, when we look back and compare ourselves to other products or projects. This, on one hand, has given us obviously the advantage that more technically oriented people, more entrepreneurial people, and just let's say a very good mix of people have stayed true to the project and are now obviously with the mainnet candidate coming closer to the release. This community is growing, but those true believers that stayed with us for all this time and that have supported us through this time now really are becoming like pillars and advocates for the entire platform, and also, in my opinion, not only for ours but the entire ecosystem. So I must here say that until this moment, the resonance has been positive.
So what have been some of the biggest challenges of this project?
I think creating an open source decentralized blockchain is a challenge itself, because if you think about it, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We focused on taking things that were either theoretically described by the theorists or let's say educational aspects or things that have been out there, and we optimized them. So getting a lot of those things to actually work and to work together in a effective way, that was definitely a challenge. Finding people that would be able to build what we're trying to create and what we're trying to realize, that was also another challenge. Advocating for blockchains in general, advocating for decentralized ledger systems has also been a challenge. But I would say it has also been very exciting because it has brought the team together. I don't think there's a lot of projects out there who are trying to do what we're trying to do. And again, here I must say that I respect each and every one of them because the road is full of stones and full of unexpected things that are hitting you from each way. But I must say that I'm very happy that how things have developed until today.
And so what are some of your plans going forward in the future?
Well, I would say the clear plan is to launch our mainnet candidate as soon as possible. Obviously, we would love to see apps built on top of our ecosystem, on top of the Eternity blockchain. We want to push education materials forward and really start creating enough materials which would not only be able to be used in some kind of workshop environment, but also maybe in a school environment where people are confronted and educated with those aspects of this amazing technology way earlier than at a university level. That would be something very interesting. Obviously, we also are looking to incubate more and more projects on a global basis. We're currently planning the next batch of our decentralized incubator, and we're trying to figure out where we're going to have the physical location, where it's being streamed from, and then also to incorporate and also allow more projects to be part of this ecosystem. And also we would like to focus on growing our ambassador program over the near future because I think, and we also think that it is of immense value to have people in small ecosystems, in small communities, advocating for your product, standing behind your product, and also opening up new channels that allow you inbound for any kind of thing. If it's new projects, if it's new people that are interested, if it's new developers, everything really comes down to this ambassador program. So we would like to emphasize on that also in the near future more.
And I believe you've already had your ICO. How did that go?
Well, we never had an ICO. We had a contribution. But it was an interesting experience. And in all fairness, I'm happy. I'm not happy, but I'm free to admit that I would not want to do it again in this climate right now. But when we did it last year, we split it into two phases. So we had phase 1 and phase 2. Between the two phases, there was also a 6-week, let's say, gap where we also pushed for new ambassadorships in order to grow the community. And I think it went very well. It was exhausting. I remember that I didn't sleep for 56 hours back then. Neither did anybody else from the team, but also we were way smaller then. But it was a very interesting experience that definitely was an important part of my life, if I can say it like this.
So maybe I misunderstood. So you did not have an ICO?
No, we didn't have an ICO. It was a different structure because we didn't, due to legal aspects, we didn't want to go down this path, and we decided to create it in a different way.
Oh, okay.
It was a contribution campaign. It looks close to a token sale, but we never called it an ICO.
Oh, okay. But it was funded by a large number of people, not necessarily like a few VCs.
Absolutely. We never had any pre-sales or anything like this. It was from day one open to the community, and everybody who was interested into it was allowed or had the opportunity to join, which we thought was interesting and important when you look at other projects who closed down either a large amount in the pre-sale and had 20 people in their main event, or even closed down everything in the pre-sale. Like for us, that didn't make sense because it's an infrastructure project, and the more people, obviously, the more users you have, the better it is.
Yeah, the funding of these projects is a little bit difficult because you really have these crowd-funded ones and these other ones that are more VC or centralized funding, and their interests don't always align.
Well, it depends because I think that the whole ecosystem has changed so much over the last 12 months that currently it's hard to crowdfund. It has gotten severely more complicated to crowdfund, not only due to legal aspects who, in my opinion, have actually helped to create some kind of base framework, but due to the fact that this classical VC aspect is now also venturing into blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and they're trying, people like Comfort and those larger VC firms, funds, and so on allow such a thing. So it's like it's a two-sided sword if you think about it.
So it's a huge, huge project. Is there anything that I should have asked you that maybe I missed?
Well, let me think. We talked about that we're planning to launch as soon as possible, that everybody can look at our pivotal tracker. We talked about the technology per se. We talked about the amazing team that I'm working with. We talked about our ambassador program, our incubation. We talked about our what else? Educational tries and efforts. So I think we have covered several things. But maybe one thing that you could have asked is where people can get more information. And here the answer obviously is pretty much any kind of platform that you can think of. But the most important technical aspects can be found on GitHub.
All right, I'll make sure I have all those links in the show notes.
I'll be happy to share them with you, Jay.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
You are a podcast listener and you're interested in crypto. Otherwise, why would you be listening to this show, right? Have you tried looking for new crypto and blockchain podcasts to listen to? If you've used Google, then you've probably found a whole bunch of clickbait articles. Top 10 lists that just list the same podcasts over and over again. And most of those podcasts aren't even active anymore. If you use iTunes, then you probably got a whole bunch of irrelevant results. The iTunes search function is absolutely awful. It's kind of like using Alta Vista in the 1990s. Keyword stuffing has made it almost unusable. So I made a site to fix this problem. Just go to crypto.podcastlist.net. On the site, you'll find a comprehensive list of all the active podcasts covering the blockchain, cryptocurrency, and other decentralization technologies. This is not a curated list of my favorite shows. This list is intended to be complete. I want to list every single show that is focused on this industry. I've got about 75 active shows on the list already. Please let me know if I've missed any shows. This list is also covered by a Creative Commons license, so feel free to reuse it and share it. Check out crypto.podcastlist.net if you are looking for new crypto and blockchain podcasts. And if you have your own show, please check and make sure you are listed. Once again, the site is crypto.podcastlist.net. Please check it out and tell me what you think.